Have you ever stopped to think that in the X-Men universe, there are mutants who can manipulate time, control minds, or even destroy entire planets? Yeah, but what if I told you that, among all these superpowered folks, there are also those who were born with abilities that, honestly, no one would want to have? Today, we're diving into the weirder and more awkward side of Marvel, taking a look at 7 mutants with useless or undesirable powers. Some seem like a joke, others even had potential. But in the end, all we can think is, man, how did Professor X have the guts to recruit this one? So hit that like button, drop a comment on which of these powers you'd never want to have, and let's get this list started, going from ridiculous to downright tragic. Ice Cream. Imagine this. You're born a mutant, expecting to get fire wings, X-ray vision, or maybe even control gravity, and then you discover your power is turning into ice cream. Yep, that's the case with Ice Cream. The guy actually thought turning into a dessert would be useful in a battle against the X-Men. The best he could do was turn into flavors like chocolate and strawberry, thinking that would make a difference against heroes who face cosmic threats. And it doesn't end there. The first and only time he tried something serious, he got defeated and turned into a sundae, complete with toppings and a cherry on top. It's impossible not to laugh, but you also kind of feel bad. I mean, what's the limit to mutant bad luck? Skin. If Mr. Fantastic can stretch his whole body in an impressive way, Skin got the pirate version of that power. He can only stretch his skin. That's right, just the skin, while his bones and muscles stay totally still. The result is a mutant who looks more like a human balloon, skin hanging, stretching in a bizarre and totally impractical way. Imagine trying to face a villain like that. Instead of intimidating, the guy looks like a living sheet blowing in the wind. And it gets worse. After using his power, his skin doesn't snap back into place properly, leaving Skin with a kind of saggy and weird appearance. He needs time and loose clothes to cover up the mess. To top it off, his skin is gray, so he's definitely not going unnoticed. It's one of those typical cases where the mutation does more harm than good. I mean, how do you fight enemies when your biggest asset is turning into a human rubber band, but with no real use? HECTOR RENDOZA. Being invisible is definitely one of the most desired powers for any superhero fan. But HECTOR RENDOZA got the worst draw in the X-Men genetic lottery. He can only make his skin invisible. That means when he activates his power, all the muscles, bones, and organs in his body are fully exposed for everyone to see, like he's a walking version of an anatomy textbook. No secret spy or stealthy agent here. The result is grotesque and often downright traumatizing for anyone who looks at him. Despite the scary look, HECTOR did manage to be useful. In an unlikely moment, he actually distracted Magneto, helping the X-Men in a battle. But let's be real. Magneto was probably more shocked by the bizarre sight than actually threatened by his power. Now, imagine yourself in his shoes. Would you use that power, even with everyone seeing your insides? Or would you just pretend you never had a mutation at all? GENIE. The idea of controlling earthquakes is already a pretty powerful one. But with GENIE, there's a little detail that turns her mutation into a real tragedy. Her powers only work when she's drunk. Yep. The more alcohol in her system, the stronger the tremors she can cause. The problem is, along with the increased strength, comes a complete lack of coordination. So not only is she putting herself at risk, but she also becomes a threat to her own team, since it's hard to predict whether she'll hit the enemies or take down her own squad. And you can't even say it's a sustainable power. Using her abilities constantly means heading straight for cirrhosis. A power that could have been epic turned into a self-destructive sentence. In the end, GENIE is living proof that not every extraordinary power is actually useful when it comes with such a crazy price. And before we keep going, hit that like button to help support the channel and subscribe if you're not already part of our nerd community. Oh, and if you're on your phone and have the option, go ahead and give that hype heart to this video to spread the content to more Marvel fans. Let's grow this community together. Jazz. While some mutants have the ability to change color, camouflage their body, or even alter the tone of any object, Jazz got the worst version of this power. He was simply born blue. And worse, there's no way to change it. No super strength, no telepathy, no combat powers. The only mutation is being permanently blue. At most, Jazz stands out in a crowd or gets some pretty unflattering nicknames. He tried to pursue a career as a rapper, but even in that world, being blue didn't give him any advantage. For comparison, Nightcrawler is also blue, but he got teleportation and insane acrobatic skills. Beast makes up for his color with intelligence and unbelievable strength. Jazz? Nothing. Just blue. It's like mutant genetics gave him a "you participated but didn't win anything" card. Doorman. Mystique can transform into anyone or anything. Other mutants can mimic objects or even change shapes. But Doorman, he can only be a door. That's right, his superpower is literally turning into a portal so people can pass from one room to another. Technically, you could say he's useful in some situations, like infiltrations or quick escapes. But let's be real, it's hard to stand out in a world where mutants are manipulating reality or controlling minds when all you do is serve as a shortcut. Imagine being in the middle of a battle against Sentinels, and someone yells, "Quick, turn left, Doorman's gonna help us," only to find out he's turned into a passage to the bathroom. Of course, in a superhero team, even he found a spot. But it's undeniable that when it comes to mutations, being a door is basically asking to be the group's comic relief. Bailey Hoskins. Unlike the other mutants on this list, Bailey Hoskins doesn't have a useless power in a funny way. The problem is his mutation is practically impossible to use without costing him his life. Bailey can store energy in his body until he explodes, releasing a destructive wave capable of causing massive damage. The catch? He doesn't regenerate. No second chances. Using the power means dying instantly. It's like his only purpose as a mutant was to sacrifice himself. In fact, in the miniseries The Worst X-Man Ever, Bailey actually gave his life to save his teammates. Unlike the bizarre or funny cases we've seen so far, this one's heartbreaking. Because Bailey wasn't a true hero, but he had to perform the greatest act of heroism possible, and never came back. Now I ask you, would you accept having a power that can only be used once, knowing it would cost your life? So, which one of these mutants do you think is the most useless of them all? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you want to see characters who really know how to use their powers, click on the next video, the 7 greatest ice power users in Marvel.